Hello and welcome to BoI Weekly. I'm Kayode Alayande. Silverbird Cinemas, a household name in the Nigeria cinema industry, has had its fair share of the ups and downs associated with being a major player in Nigeria's entertainment industry, especially the cinemas. In 2004, the Silverbird Cinemas began its operation at a time when the cinema industry was just gradually coming alive after about a 20-year comatose. It was a new day for cinema in Nigeria as more and more people returned to the long-abandoned culture of going to the movies. But just a few years down the line, movie producers globally upgraded their filming format to embrace the digital technology. At the time, cinemas, even across the globe, were using the 35mm projectors, which were now gradually becoming obsolete. This created a new challenge, albeit a good one. So the race to catch up began. The new digital projectors were very expensive, but it took no time before other cinemas across the globe acquired the new technology because they had easier access to incentives in form of rebates and discounts. But the Silverbird Cinema was just left in the cold. The executive director, Mr. Jonathan Bruce, says, thankfully, the story didn't end there. The Bank of Industry came to the rescue. With that intervention, they were able to acquire the latest technology in projectors, and it was a game changer for Silverbird Cinemas. Stay close for all the details.
In the agricultural sector, due to limited processing and preservation capacity. This results in high food prices and food importation, with its attendant effects on the nation's foreign reserves. To enable Nigerians optimize the benefits from the country's vast agricultural products such as cassava, oil palm, rice, tomatoes, and others, the Bank of Industry has launched a 5 billion naira cottage agro-processing fund, the CAP Fund. Customers can access the fund to establish plants to process our various agro-produce into food products or intermediate raw materials for industries at a single-digit interest rate of 9% per annum. For more information on the CAP Fund, please visit www.boinigeria.com/capfund. Bank of Industry, developing Nigeria's agro-processing industry through the CAP Fund.
Silverbird started in 1980. The cinema started 2004, and it did very well. We were able to expand beyond Lagos. Our first site was here in the Galleria in 2004, and then we were able to expand into Abuja when we built SEC and the cinema there, because our original plan was to have a mall cinema combo when we do it. So we have a entertainment destination. From there, we expanded into Port Harcourt. We opened a site in Uyo. We have 2 sites in Ghana. And so we've been expanding, and as the industry has been doing well, other cinema operations have been opening up. The fact that we're expanding and other cinemas have come into the market shows that there's still growth opportunities for the cinema industry. So there's still plenty of room to grow for cinema in Nigeria.
As a company, what would you say that Silverbird Cinemas has learned about consumer behavior over the last 12 years?
Well, we know that people there's demand for entertainment, that people like watching movies. One thing we learned is that sometimes economic factors can determine what they're willing to spend for movies. So what will work in some society, you might be able to have like one type of cinema, but then you'll have to have a slightly different skewed cinema for a different area due to the socio-economic situation in that area.
Other players in the industry, I mean, those you have to rely on to give you content, are not exactly happy about the sharing formula of proceeds from movies shown at the cinemas. The thing is sort of lopsided. What will be your response to this?
It's not lopsided. It's actually industry practice, because if they go outside and look at sharing terms, they'll see something quite similar. Also, they actually benefit more than they think. Because if you look at a movie, the lifespan of the movie, the first 2 weeks is determined how successful a movie is. A movie is successful, most people come in first week, second week, then you start seeing diminishing returns. So they'll make most of their money in the beginning, and then towards the end, as its returns do, that's when the cinema starts to make its money. And keep in mind, it's not cheap running a cinema. You have to pay for your diesel, your electricity, your staff, your rent. There are a lot of things we have to do, but most of our income from cinema actually goes to distributors, not really so much for us. So it really benefits them more than it benefits us.
What will be your own generic sharing formula?
It's the same. If you really look at the percentage cuts, most cinemas will have the same percentage cuts, where it starts at 50 and then does a sliding scale. There won't be that much variation. For the most part, Nollywood's the same. You're more likely to see variations in Hollywood's sharing terms than Nollywood. And even with Hollywood, there are some instances where cinema can actually get a higher sharing term from a Hollywood than a Nollywood. So it evens out over time. Nollywood is more consistent, whereas it starts at 50 and then it goes down to about 60. So if you look at any cinema house, they'll have basically the same thing. You won't really see much variations. For Hollywood, there might be some slight variations, in which case the cinema can sometimes get more. Either it'll be 50% or sometimes the cinema can get a little bit more for the first week than even a Nollywood.
What would you consider the remote or immediate threats to your business, especially running the business in a country like Nigeria?
One of them is piracy. There's a lot of piracy in terms of people bringing in the movies before we get into a cinema or the same week as the cinema, which is why we try to get day and date release for the films, because there will be that percentage of people who want to see a film first, and if they can get it on the pirate ahead of time, it would lead to a drop of people coming into cinemas. And there doesn't seem to be a lot being done in order to counter piracy for the cinemas. Also, external factors that would come in. If economics, if the economy is not doing well, spending power gets reduced, and that can affect patronage and prices of acquiring things for running a cinema. So it's a lot of factors, mostly external, that could affect us.
You did a little bit of practice in Las Vegas. Can you compare how cinema is run abroad to how we do it here?
It's the same thing. There's no real difference. So the way you run it, the background operations, the softwares we use for running the cinema is very similar to the softwares you would use abroad for running a cinema. The only difference is maybe different brand, because there are different brands of softwares. The projectors are the same type of projectors, so it's the same type of quality films. We get similar films. The only difference is here we show Hollywood, Nollywood, and Bollywood, whereas foreign places will cater just their market. So America will show Hollywood, England will show their films in Hollywood, etc. It just may be some slight variation on what films are offered and what deals negotiate. But even in terms of the deals negotiated, it's almost the same thing. So you'll see very little difference when you go between cinemas abroad and here.